Today we're doing a full review of the Skechers Razor 3 after 50 miles. How's it going, runners? My name is Justin Thompson and I'm your average running PT. I help the average runner achieve their own personal elite status. If that's something you guys are into, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell so that you guys know when the next video comes out. Now, as I said, in this video we're taking a look at the Skechers Go Run Razor 3. Now, this is a fantastic, neutral, lightweight running shoe that really it's meant for racing. Some of the specs include 6.4 ounces in a men's size 9, 24 millimeter stack in the heel, and 20 millimeters in the forefoot, giving it a nice little 4 millimeter drop from heel to toe. The upper is a ripstop mesh with these plasticky kind of overlays on them. I'm not real sure exactly what those are made of, and of course the word speed written across the front. The midsole has the hyperburst midsole material, which we will talk about. I had some mixed feelings about this in different shoes. And then the outsole has a little thin piece of rubber right in here. We'll talk about that too. So let's come back to just a general impression. So first of all, I really enjoyed running in this shoe. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I was very fast when running in this shoe, and to be honest, it made me go faster than I wanted to at some points. So there's that. So if you're looking to run fast, this is a great shoe for racing or time trials or speed work, and that's what I mainly ended up using it for. I used it a lot for my speed work and for my 2 time trials that I did back in March. So it's been a little while since I did those. As you guys know, I took a little bit of a break between those time trials and now. So that's why it's taken me so long to get the 50-mile review out on this. But in general, this shoe performed extremely well for that particular purpose, for time trialing, for speed work, for just going fast, shorter tempo runs, things like that. Really enjoyed running in this shoe. Now, with the upper and those overlays and the ripstop mesh, I made complaints in my first run about the toe box being too narrow, and you can kind of see how it comes to a point here. And that's still a bit of a complaint. However, one thing I did notice is that I didn't necessarily feel that constriction throughout the whole 50 miles. It started to kind of loosen up a little bit towards the end, and I didn't really feel that squeezing down on my big toe nearly as much. I think the ripstop mesh has kind of started to stretch just a little bit and accommodate my foot a little bit more. It's still a little bit restrictive. So if you're looking for something that's got a little bit more room in it, a little bit more opportunity for your foot to splay, and I know how I've mentioned the ability of the foot to splay when talking about shoes like Ultras or things like that. I love that feeling. I don't love the feeling of being restricted. However, this did stretch out a little bit over time. So if you're concerned when you first put the shoe on or go for your first run or so, give it a few and see if it just kind of stretches out a little bit for you. Now, I only wore this like once a week, so I could kind of tolerate that squish a little bit for one run out of the week. 10% or less of my running over the course of the week was done in this shoe. So I was able to tolerate that as long as I was able to get back into those other types of shoes where my feet kind of spread out a little bit more throughout the rest of the week. But overall, I did feel locked down through the midfoot and didn't feel any slipping or anything like that in there. The heel counter is really flexible, yet it's kind of deep enough, and it's got a little bit of this cushion towards the top of the Achilles that really kind of holds everything in place. I didn't feel like I was slipping around in it at all, and when you're going fast in a shoe like this, you don't want to feel any slipping whatsoever. So I think that overall, the upper and the heel counter on this shoe really did their job really well, and I'm very pleased with that. Now let's get into the hyperburst material. Now I've had some complaints about the Skechers Go Run Ride 8, which also has hyperburst material, but when I put this shoe on and went running on it, the hyperburst just felt completely different. It felt, now in the Go Run Ride 8, it definitely felt responsive. It didn't feel cushiony though. It felt a little more firm and hard, especially in colder temperatures. Whenever I put this one on, didn't matter what the temperature was or anything like that, it felt cushioned and responsive at the same time. So now this is a more flexible shoe too. I think that part of that cushion may just have to do with, or that cushiony feeling might just have to do with lesser material making it feel like it's cushioned because of the flexibility. I'm not entirely sure why I felt such a difference from the Go Run Ride 8 to this shoe. However, running hard and fast in this shoe, you want a little bit of cushion. It feels really, really nice on the feet whenever you're really pounding out those faster miles and those faster runs. So I felt like the midsole on this shoe really complemented a fast 5K or 10K type of an effort. I know that there are other people that say that maybe it does them well for a half marathon, or even some that have done a full marathon in it. I think for me, going back to the toe box, I would have a hard time with feeling that restriction over that long of a race. So I think this is a perfect 5K, 10K type of racing shoe. Now the outsole on this one is made of just a super, super thin piece of rubber. I mean, it's like, you could probably measure this thing and it would be a millimeter, maybe 2 thick at the most. I mean, it is super thin. And at 50 miles, I'm getting close. I think at 100 miles, I'd probably start to wear through to the hyperburst material. But it covers, all the right areas of the foot. This is a little bit exposed here along the arch, but it's not really a spot that is really hitting the ground too hard or is really, essential to have a lot of grip. What I did have a problem with was if I ran on wet asphalt, wet pavement, things like that. And on my time trials that I did a 1 mile time trial and a 5K time trial. And on both of those, as I was going around the turn on this asphalt track that I was running on, there were some wet spots and this rubber just did not cut it on the wet areas. Now, I don't think it's meant for, running on wet surfaces either. It's pretty smooth along here. I think it's just meant for, running hard and fast on dry pavement. But, I think that I wish that I had a little bit more grip even on wet surfaces, because a lot of times in the morning I'm running on the roads or on that track and sprinklers are going and, well, it's wet. So it's kind of a bummer. But so I think I maybe even could have run a little bit faster on those time trials if I wasn't worried about the wetness and a potential slip happening with the outsole of the shoe. So then what were my results in those particular time trials? Well, when I ran my 5K time trial, which is what I did first, I took about 1 minute and 14 seconds off of my time that I had done previously, which was about 3 months prior. Now I understand and I get it. I had been training more, and there was that much time put in. But I do think that these helped to kind of carry me there. I never felt like I was lugging my feet around. I just felt like I was flying around the track and didn't really start to fatigue until maybe 2.5 miles into that 5K. So the fact that I was only starting to kind of get those heavy legs with like a half a mile left to go, I thought was pretty impressive. So I felt really good, really fast in these shoes whenever I did that. And then I used them again for the 1 mile time trial. I think I was just afraid running in this shoe for the 1 mile time trial on that asphalt track because it was wet. So, you know, obviously I was tired, much quicker, it's a faster run, but I think I could have gone a little bit faster if I wasn't afraid because of this kind of slippery outsole. So what are my pros and cons for this thing? So pros, I got 2 of them for you. Super lightweight, guys. Super lightweight. This thing was, what did I say, 6.4 ounces in a men's size 9. Crazy. I think when my my father-in-law measured it on his food scale when it first came to us in the mail, I think it was like 8 something for my monster foot. You know, I have an 11.5 foot, so I'm a little bit bigger. But it was like 8 ounces or something like that. Super light for a shoe of my size. Also, another pro was definitely the fact that it felt really responsive. It made those faster time trials go, I think, even that much faster. I think it also helped to conserve some energy in my legs. So that responsiveness, definitely a pro of this shoe. Now, to balance out the 2 pros, I do have a couple of cons. So first of all is that toe box. It's definitely a little bit narrow. Now, it's a racing shoe. I expect it to be narrow. So it's not a huge con, especially considering the fact that it did stretch a little bit. So I'm not as worried about that. However, the other con, definitely, if it's a racing shoe, I don't want to feel like it's slipping out from under me. So that outsole was definitely a con for me, and I wasn't real appreciative of not being confident going around a turn on an asphalt track. So con, outsole, and the toe box for sure. But that's it for the Skechers Razor 3. So that's my review after 50 miles. I will leave a link in the description below if you guys are interested in getting this shoe. That is an affiliate link, which means that if you buy through that, then it doesn't cost you any extra, but I get a little bit of a return on that purchase. So if you want to help me out, that would be fantastic. And that's all I've got for you guys today. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the video for me for sure. And I will see you guys next time.